When people are choosing where to retire in Thailand, two places come up again and again: Jomtien and Hua Hin. Both are popular, both are affordable, both are considered good retirement choices. But here's the problem: most retirees who end up unhappy didn't choose the wrong place because of money, visas, or healthcare. They chose the wrong place because they misunderstood what actually makes them happy after the first year. After the honeymoon phase wears off, something interesting happens. Some retirees feel settled, others feel quietly restless, and the difference usually isn't practical at all. It's fit. In this video, I want to talk honestly about which retirees tend to be happier after year one and why, when choosing between Jomtien and Hua Hin. Not from theory, from patterns. I've watched this same pattern repeat over and over again with retirees I've spoken to and observed over the years. This isn't about which place is better. There is no better. There's only what works long term for different types of people. And that distinction becomes very clear after the first year. Let's start with something most people don't factor in. The first year is not real life. The first year is exploration, adjustment, novelty. You're discovering new routines, new places, new foods, new habits. You're still in motion. Almost anywhere can feel right during that phase. The real test starts when life becomes repetitive, when days begin to look similar, when routines settle in. That's when location starts to matter in a very different way. In Jomtien, retirees who tend to be the happiest after year one usually share a few traits. They like energy, but not chaos. They value convenience. They want options. Restaurants within walking distance, public transportation that actually works, a mix of quiet mornings and social evenings. They like knowing they can stay at home or step into activity without much effort. For these people, Jomtien feels alive without being overwhelming. Not exciting every day, but not sleepy either. Many retirees describe their life in Jomtien after the first year in similar ways. They enjoy walking to breakfast without planning. They like casual conversations that don't require commitment. They appreciate having choices, but not feeling pressured to use them. Life feels flexible. But the retirees who struggle in Jomtien long term usually fall into one category. They want calm, but chose convenience. Jomtien still has noise, traffic, tourism cycles. There are busier seasons and quieter seasons, but it's never truly still. If what you really want is deep quiet and predictability, Jomtien can slowly start to feel busy after a while, even if it felt perfect at first. Now let's look at Hua Hin. Hua Hin attracts a very different type of retiree. People who value rhythm over variety, predictability over options, and quiet over stimulation. For the right person, Hua Hin feels easy. Days flow smoothly, life is slower, there's less decision making, you're not constantly choosing where to go or what to do next. After decades of work stress, that simplicity can feel incredibly comforting. Here's what life often looks like in Hua Hin after the first year. You wake up around the same time, walk the same routine, have coffee at the same place, run a few errands, go home. And for some retirees, that's not boring, that's peaceful. But this is where the 1 year mark really matters. In Hua Hin, happiness depends heavily on internal satisfaction. If you're content with simpler routines, fewer social options, and less variety, Hua Hin can feel peaceful for years. But if you rely on external stimulation to feel engaged, if variety and spontaneity energizes you, Hua Hin can quietly begin to feel limiting. Not wrong, just limiting. This is where most people misjudge the decision. They choose based on what sounds appealing, not on how they actually live day to day. After year one, happiness isn't about scenery, it's about friction. How much resistance does daily life create for you? In Jomtien, friction usually comes from stimulation. Too much noise, too many people, too many distractions. In Hua Hin, friction usually comes from the opposite. Not enough variety, fewer social opportunities, more repetition. Neither is bad, but one of these will wear on you more than the other. And that's what determines long-term happiness. Another difference shows up socially. In Jomtien, social circles are easier to enter, but also easier to drift in and out of. You meet people casually, have conversations, then people move on. Some retirees love that flexibility. Others find it superficial. In Hua Hin, social circles are smaller but more stable. People tend to know each other longer. Groups are tighter. For some retirees, that feels grounding. For others, it can feel isolating if they don't quite fit in. Again, it's not about better, it's about alignment. After observing this for a long time, a clear pattern emerges. Retirees who are happiest in Jomtien after year one usually value flexibility, variety, walkability, and social optionality. Retirees who are happiest in Hua Hin after year one usually value calm, routine, predictability, and lower stimulation. The mistake is choosing based on aspiration instead of preference. Here's a quiet truth most people don't talk about. Neither place fixes dissatisfaction. If you're unsettled internally, both places will eventually reflect that back to you. But if your expectations are aligned, both can feel very comfortable. That's why some retirees stay for years, and others quietly move on even when nothing is technically wrong. If you're deciding between Jomtien and Hua Hin, the most important question isn't which one is better, it's this: which one creates less friction for the way I actually live? That answer doesn't change after the honeymoon phase. If this kind of long-term thinking about retirement is useful to you, do us a massive favour and subscribe to the channel. This channel is focusing on clarity over hype and decisions that still make sense years later. In upcoming videos, I'll go deeper into this: why Jomtien works incredibly well for some retirees and quietly fails others, why Hua Hin feels perfect at first and then different after year one, and why so many people eventually move again even when nothing is wrong. Because in retirement, comfort matters more than excitement, and fit matters more than reputation.